This season, Chloe Kelly has struggled for minutes at Manchester City. Reports of a fractured relationship with manager Gareth Taylor make it seem that there's no way back for the England star. And with Euro 2025 on the horizon, we discuss what's happened this season, what should happen next, and whether the scorer of the winning goal in the 2022 final should be in the England squad for the upcoming tournament. These are our thoughts on the Chloe Kelly situation. Alright, let's talk about the Chloe Kelly situation then, because I think it's quite an interesting discussion. Manchester City this season have had a very good start to the campaign. They have been fairly good in the WSL. They're only behind the invincible Chelsea. They won 5 from 6 in the Champions League, and I think it's no mean feat to be second to only Barcelona. Yet throughout this campaign, there has been this blemish of Kelly and the situation between her and Gareth Taylor, Harry.
Yeah, very much so. I think this situation was heightened in the last couple of weeks. We knew Kelly hadn't started this campaign, and it was a bit of a concern, and it was quite a big question, surrounding Kelly and Manchester City. But in these last couple of weeks, where you've had Khadija Shaw out injured, where you had Lauren Hemp out injured, 2 key attacking players, and we still haven't seen Chloe Kelly, be given a chance, be given an opportunity. So for me, that was kind of, that's the final straw that shows there is a big problem here going on, where Gareth Taylor and Chloe Kelly, clearly there's something going on, and Kelly isn't getting the minutes that she needs to be.
Yeah, of course, there's reports of a bust up in training at the start of the season. There's been, reports that they have fallen out. We've never had anything too concrete from Taylor or from Kelly's perspective. But I think what we can see from the lack of minutes that Kelly's been afforded this season, the lack of opportunities, is that she's not part of Gareth Taylor's plans. And I think with the Euros coming up this summer, it's really important that Kelly's playing football. You look at her minutes this season, she's played only 165 minutes across 6 matches in the WSL. One of those was a start. As for the Champions League, it's slightly better reading with 3 matches, but again, only 1 start and only 97 minutes. She has registered, though, an assist in the Champions League. I think for Kelly, obviously, it's very bad because those minutes are not good enough. And we've seen Serena Wiegman speak out about how those minutes aren't good enough, and that is a concern. And so I think for Kelly, she'll be hoping to get a move. For Manchester City, was it the right thing to bench Chloe Kelly for the start of the season? I think for the latter part, there's no real debate. Why, where Khadija Shaw and Lauren have been out injured, why are you not giving her any opportunity there? Because they're shoehorning players into attacking areas, and it has cost City. They make, you can't say if they had Kelly on the pitch, they'd definitely beat Everton, but it doesn't make them a worse attacking unit than they were on that day. So I think the definite debates we had there. But at the start of the season, with your front three of Hemp, Shaw and Fowler, could you say that they were right to bench Kelly in that situation?
Potentially so. Potentially, I definitely agree with the front three you've named there. But when you factor in things like the playing for Gino, despite the fact that she has come in and has not performed, I think to try and shoehorn Park on the right hand side against Everton and then put Blinkilda Brown. We saw Murphy come on at halftime against Everton over Chloe Kelly, and don't get me wrong, Murphy is a really good talent and clearly is going to be a good player. But the fact that she was the chosen sub and that she's played very similar minutes to Kelly this season speaks absolute volumes. But it's a really bizarre scenario. This is her 5th season at Manchester City now, and in every one of those seasons, she's put up some incredible goals and assist numbers. Last season was a little bit of a drop off. We didn't see her get into double digits in either, I don't believe. But the 4 campaigns before that were really, really strong, and even last year was still pretty decent.
Last season was her highest goal scoring since her debut season, and when you consider just how much the WSL has come on since then, how much more difficult it is now to score high volumes of goals, I think that's a really impressive return. She's never, bar the 21-22 season where she only played 7 games, she's never put up less than double digits for goals and assists combined.
And it is so bizarre that 4 campaigns there where she's played pretty well, and then this season just not been given an opportunity. Yeah. And I do think there was a period last season where she was underperforming, but either sides of that kind of goal drought, she played really well. And even when she wasn't getting the goals in, she was still putting in good performances. So to come for this season and to just instantly replace her with an unproven and unknown Fagino, for me, was a really bizarre decision from Gareth Taylor. I get that he wants to give Fagino minutes, and that there is definitely a really good player there in Fagino. I think she's a really good talent, but to say that she should be starting over Kelly right now for me is just really is just incorrect, and I think Taylor's got that one really wrong.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is I think when you've got to consider why this fallout happened, and this is purely conjecture. I've got no backing for this, but what I think happened, or what I can assume happened, is that at the start of the season, Gareth Taylor has spoken to Chloe Kelly and explained that Mary Fowler would be starting in that role. And I don't think Chloe Kelly's taken that particularly well, because realistically, at this point in her career, she should be a starter.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she is starting level for Manchester City necessarily. I think when you look at the quality that Mary Fowler's provided this season, I think you can say that's been an upgrade on Kelly's output last season. Kelly put up 15 goal contributions in all competitions last season, an impressive record. But when you consider a third of those were in the League Cup and the FA Cup, I think that definitely points towards the fact that she's not at that top level. And as City try and push on to win the title, maybe have a go in the Champions League, they've got to have high quality players in there. I think Fowler has provided an upgrade. So what I imagine has happened here is that's been explained to Chloe Kelly. There's obviously a disagreement there. Now the odd bit for me is why Kelly then didn't get a move in the summer, because if it was clear that relationship was untenable, if that wasn't going to work this season, then why not move on in the summer? For me, I can't really see a way back for Chloe Kelly at Manchester City. I think that the relationship between her and Taylor's clearly become too fractured. I think it's very difficult to envision a world where she does return to the starting lineup or even to regular minutes right now. So I can't really see how that works. So a January move surely got to be her preferred option with the Euros coming up this summer.
Yeah, definitely so. She's into the last year of her contract. She's third choice now on that right hand side, which I think is a crazy decision at that, because I agree. Like, Fowler perhaps starting over Kelly in the bigger games, in the more important, makes sense. Give the majority of the minutes to Fowler, but Kelly should be that brilliant rotation that you bring in for the UWSL, that you bring in. You're subbing on every time the WSL, you're giving her loads of minutes. But the fact that she's third choice on that right hand side, Kelly is better than a third choice winger at Manchester City, and I think that she deserves a move, and she needs a move, as you say. If she's fighting for a Euro place now. Chloe Kelly has got 6 months to get a move and perform to prove that she deserves to be on the plane going to Switzerland for England, because a player that has done incredible things in an England shirt could be costed here by the fact that she hasn't played in the back end of 2024, and that would be a real shame, because if Wiegman doesn't take her, then if she doesn't get a move and Wiegman doesn't take her, that's completely reasonable. It's not on Selena Wiegman to take her because Gareth Taylor won't play her.
Yeah.
But Kelly, she's got to fight for her place now. Get a good move and have an incredible start to the season. Incredible start to the year, and then prove that she is the top player and that Gareth Taylor was wrong to bench her.
Well, and that's the thing, isn't it? You speak there about England. You've got to consider there's going to be about 6 or 7 wingers / creative midfielders. And when you consider that there's no way that, unless obviously through injuries, but if we say that there's no injuries to the squad, Lauren James is there.
Yeah.
Grace Clinton's got to be there right now. Jess Park on form has to be there. You've got probably Beth Mead, I think, is guaranteed in there. Lauren Hemp, of course. That leaves you 2 spots. And you've got to consider players at Ella Toone will probably go regardless of the fact she's not had a fantastic season. And then she's fighting out with everyone else who's vying for a place, like Jessica Naz, who's performed or has had some decent games for England, has been given opportunities. Agabeva Jones, who may be considered more of a striker for this tournament, but is still a player that will be in that reckoning. Nikita Paris, who, for all intents and purposes, doesn't seem to be in the reckoning at the moment for England, but has had such a good season. Frank Kirby, who is still amongst the England squad and having a good season with Brighton. When you consider those names, it's very difficult to see Kelly getting in that squad. She's got to get a move away from Manchester City. She's got to get consistent game time. She's got to prove that she's still at the level required to play for England. And so I think a move away this January is important. Obviously, contract expiring in the summer, so it may be difficult because Man City will want money if she's going now. Clubs may not want to pay any money if she's available for free in 6 months' time, but I reckon City would probably take a cut price at the moment because she's not playing. Why not take the money and then look at other options? So where could she go? Let's start with in the WSL, because you've got there's probably 3 clubs she would consider. Chelsea wouldn't be interested though.
No.
And so I think that leaves you Arsenal and Manchester United. Are either of those good fits for Kelly?
It's tough. I think that Arsenal, for me, are already happy with the rotation they've got. And again, Kelly would only come in and be that rotation with Beth Mead on the right hand side. But with Arsenal, you can consider that Ford can play. I know it's not her favourite side, but Ford can play there. Caldente can play anywhere across that three. You've got, and there's Pittle already complaining that players like Kafaji aren't getting enough minutes in that Arsenal attack. So I think again Kelly would be second, third choice. So it would be a bit of a sidestep in terms of the minutes that she'd be getting. For as for Man United, obviously there is that City United rivalry, which makes it very, very difficult. And again, United's a bit of a different size. It's similar and different to Arsenal. United have got a lot of attackers, but Gareth Taylor seems to keep playing all of them, and none of them are doing anything. Mark Skinner, sorry. So don't get those two mixed up. Mark Skinner seems to be playing all of them, and not many of them are doing anything.
Yeah, I think she could work at Arsenal. I think when you look at the attacking options Arsenal have, you've got Beth Mead, you've got Caitlin Ford, and you've got Mariona Caldente. That's pretty much it for the wings. I don't think Lena Hurtig's at the level required. And when you consider that going into the back half of the season, they've got Champions League knockouts, they've got obviously the WSL, they've got the League Cup they want to go far in, they've got the Women's FA Cup. I think when you consider there's 4 competitions, there are a lot of minutes to go round. I think it's a fairly low risk deal. I think they can get on a fairly cut price. They could probably move on Lena Hurtig and make back a fair bit of the money that they pay for Chloe Kelly. So I don't think... I think that would work. I think she would get enough minutes.
She'd get more than she's getting now, which is the main thing. That's the main thing for Kelly. She needs to go somewhere where she will just play more. And that is the way she's got to look at it. She can't imagine, because she hasn't played really much football for 6 months now. She can't go into a team expecting to start every single game. But she has to look for moves where she's going to get more minutes and get opportunities to impress. And then when she does impress, then she'll get rewarded with the starts, and then suddenly the minutes will tick over. She'll be in brilliant form, and it will be a brilliant end to the campaign. But yeah, just fine. And to be fair, with Beth Mead being a little bit hit and miss still at the moment, still playing better than she was last season, but Kelly could give Arsenal a little bit of an edge in attacking area. Man United, I think it's more unlikely that United would go for her, because I don't know, because you look at it, they've got Bizet, but they play her right back sometimes. United's a mess. You don't want to go there. That's the problem.
It's worth saying as well, Kelly came through the academy at Arsenal, because so there is that relationship that exists there already. And I think if you look at the current Arsenal squad, where there's 3 wingers I mentioned, the fact that Caldente could play attack midfield, has also been playing in the more defensive midfield role. I think there is a huge chance of minutes there. So I think that could be something that they look at. And moving into the continent, I can't really see a move to the Serie A happening.
No.
But the other major leagues, PSG were interested in the summer. Yeah. Is that a move that you think would be favourable for both parties?
Potentially so. I think that, PSG have recovered their season pretty well, and they're having a good domestic campaign. With, is it Katoto leaving come the end of or potentially leaving?
She wants to leave on a free at the end of the season.
So PSG could cover themselves and just bring in another attacker to accommodate for Katoto potentially leaving.
Well, they've been playing a 4-4-2 this season, haven't they? With Reme Leukter and Katoto up front. If Katoto is to depart, then I think they could switch to a more traditional front three, and then use Reme Leukter through the middle and Chloe Kelly off one of the 2 sides. And maybe stop playing Karchawi as a left midfielder. Who knows? Maybe something crazy like that could happen. But yeah, I think PSG at the moment isn't the most attractive destination. But if it's a guaranteed starting minute, I don't think she can really afford to turn it down. I don't think that she's not going to go to Barcelona. She doesn't start for me at Real Madrid. And that is damning at the moment. I can't, the fact that sometimes they don't even play...
Linda
Caicedo is insane to me, but that shows the quality that is on the field there. So I don't think she starts at Real Madrid. Bayern, Wolfsburg. If Jule Brand is to leave this summer, is that the best replacement for Wolfsburg?
Potentially so, but it's and that's the thing again. As I say, you think that maybe it's a step down for Kelly, but at the end of the day, she's going to have to. That might be the case that she has to take a slightly lesser move and go and outperform that team, but. It's an option, wherever she goes, she's going to be more of a squad player than a...
Is Wolfsburg a step down, though?
I mean, maybe that's a bit harsh.
A team that can compete on the European stage, a side that is stacked with talent. They've not been the most competitive over the last few years, but they are still well up there. They're into the Champions League knockouts
Yeah.
this year. I don't think that's an unattractive destination.
He-
Could be incredible if Man City do play Wolfsburg in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and if you,
I know they can't, can they? That's a shame. But,
if you compare, if you compare Wolfsburg to PSG, Wolfsburg got European football, and for me, there's more chance they're going to win the title than PSG are going to beat Lyon. So it does look potentially more attractive, and I do think that potentially a move into the Frauen Bundesliga could be where Kelly goes. But I do think that, I mean, she'll want to stay in Europe. I think.
Well, I was going to say is that's the other thing, isn't it? That was going to be my next point. NWSL. Is that an option for Chloe at this stage of her career? She's still only 26, so there is a chance she could go to NWSL and still come back to WSL later in her career.
The concern would be is they're not playing yet. They're not actually playing. Obviously the season has just finished, so to get a move for minutes would be difficult when the teams aren't playing any football.
But they just start again in February.
They start, yeah.
The season's got to start sooner.
Yeah, they have. So potentially so. That is a. It's a chance she could take that move, but I think she'd prefer to stay in Europe, and I think that her England opportunities would be bolstered staying in Europe. But still, Jess Carter's out playing in the States, and she's still getting in the Europe squads, and so potentially it could be an option we see. But for Kelly,
Last season, the NWSL started in March, by the way, so I'd assume it'll be the same this year. But at that, you are right in saying that is 2 months without football. But equally, she's not played a whole lot of football. Going to NWSL, where she would be able to go through a full pre-season with a team, is that a more favourable option? You'd still get 3-4 months of football before we get round to the European Championships.
Yeah, it would be it basically just be a reset for her. Like she'd be resetting the start of her season in 2025, and potentially that's what she needs. Obviously, the European Championships does clash with the calendar season of the NWSL, but I think that
they may take a break. They do for the Olympics and stuff, so potentially they take a break. But she'd also be playing consistently up to the Euros.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of players will stop playing mid-May. There's some internationals after that, but she'd be able to have consistent training and consistent games right up to those internationals.
I think the main thing for Kelly is that I know her contract's at the end of the season, so realistically she is going to leave Man City. At some point this season, if she wants a chance though, for me to get to the Euros, she has to leave in January. If she waits out her contract and leaves City end of the year, I don't think that'll be enough to get her at the Euros.
I would suggest a loan move, but Man City are never going to agree to that.
No,
because they make no money then, and City love money.
And for Kelly, that then leaves her out of club in the summer, and then suddenly.
But she's an attractive prospect to a lot of clubs, especially available on a free transfer. So I don't think that's necessarily a terrible thing. I think, Kelly will not be here come the summer. The question is, will she get a move in this January transfer window where she desperately needs one? Or is there just not any manoeuvrability in the market? Because you could, obviously we've spoken here, Arsenal would be a nice destination, but do Arsenal want to add another wing into their squad right now? Do they want to have to go and fork out that money, or would they rather wait? Because they are still at the moment under interim management.
Last thing,
So you've got to consider all those sort of aspects. I think they probably would still move for Chloe Kelly, because I think whoever comes in is not going to be furious that they've signed Chloe Kelly.
Yeah.
But I think that's something else to consider. So there's a lot going on at the moment. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the January transfer window. What would be your ideal move? If you're Chloe Kelly, put yourself in her shoes right now.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm a great player.
You're incredible. Where do you think her best destination is?
I think Arsenal would be the best option, but perhaps the more unlikely out of the lot. I think PSG would fit well. But I think you're kind of looking at those sides that are within Europe that are challenging for those titles. We mentioned there Arsenal, who are third, PSG who are second in that fight, and Wolfsburg who are also in that title fight. So you're looking at not quite the top teams in each country, but second, third, they're fighting. They've got European football. There's a chance potentially they win silverware at some point in the various tournaments. So that's what she's got to aim for.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, I think she'll want to stay in the WSL if possible. So I think she would prefer that Arsenal move. As you say, I think the Frauen Bundesliga is probably, the easiest destination that could happen this window. I would say she'll prefer that move to Arsenal, though, and I think Arsenal, it would be a good signing.
Yeah,
would be a very nice addition. I think if you look at where they're lacking at the moment in the squad, they could probably do another midfielder. But one way they could solve that is by playing Caldente in those deeper roles and bringing in a winger like Chloe Kelly. So I think that winger's also the other area where I think they could add a few. So I think Chloe Kelly would be well suited. and an upgrade on what they've got at the moment as sort of rotation options. And I think she would be able to get consistent minutes with the number of games we've got.
Yeah.
Because we've got FA Cup, coming up in a few weeks' time. We're straight into WSL season. Then it's the League Cup quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Then suddenly we're only a month out from the Champions League knockouts. There's so much going on over the next few months. So I think there's ample opportunity for her to get minutes.
Yeah, and it would, I mean, from an Arsenal point of view, it would bolster their chances of winning silverware and winning more than perhaps the Subway Cup. They might finally win something that isn't the League Cup.
They may do that indeed. So yeah, that is our thoughts on Cole. Those are our thoughts on the Chloe Kelly situation. Do get involved in the comments down below, because there is a lot of discourse on this across the internet. So I'm sure that people will have their takes. So do get involved down below. If you're a Manchester City fan, tell us, do you want to see Kelly back in the squad, or are you happy to see her leave? Because that's perhaps one aspect we can't really talk about, as we're not Man City fans. But from a neutral perspective, I think it's probably best that she does leave now. But yeah, that is everything from us today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.